So this is the masterclass, free masterclass on beginner email marketing and marketing automation for business owners. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if you're joining here today, you're probably joining for two reasons. One, to escape the intimidation of email marketing for good. And two, you're looking to welcome your customers with a simple framework, and I am providing mine. So let me know if you can see my screen okay, and feel free. I'm going to mute you all to enter any questions that you have in the chat box, and I'll continue to check that throughout, and then we'll also have a Q&A at the end. For those of you who are joining the replay or watching the recording of this webinar, I hope you find it useful, and make sure to continue to check in every month. We have ongoing master classes, so if you missed this month, you can always join next month. And of course, everyone who signs up gets a recording replay of the webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. Just so you guys know a little bit about me, my name is Madeline Oliver. I've worked in the corporate industry for 6 years now. I have my MBA from San Francisco State University. I have worked in all areas of marketing, but I grew to quickly specialize as I worked my way up as an intern all the way through a manager in email marketing and marketing automation. Currently, right now, I work for Yesler, which is the largest B2B agency in the world. Our clients range from from Microsoft to Google to Cinex. I currently work on a $4 million account as a marketing technology strategist and architect. I thoroughly enjoy my day job, and I also am launching my own consulting business where I help entrepreneurs and also companies get their email marketing set up and their automation running flawlessly. I also am going to be launching a course here in 2 weeks where I teach entrepreneurs the basics of email marketing. So if you're looking to get your feet wet, these master classes are great, but really you'll probably want to consider investing some more time into learning deeper layers of email marketing and automation in my 6-week course. So I've worked with companies, from Monster Jobs to Pandora to iFly here in Austin, Texas. And now as an entrepreneur, I am enjoying the thrills of entrepreneurship as well as bringing in all my corporate experience to help entrepreneurs really grow their business and become less dependent on social media. So we're going to skip the introduction in the chat box today just for the sake of time, since people hopped on late. But I'm so glad you're here, and you're probably wondering who this is for if you joined on late. This is really for anyone who's looking to learn more about email marketing, who might feel intimidated by it, who thinks it's dead, and you can admit that. That's be honest. Who's probably fallen off the bandwagon, right? They're not consistent with it. Maybe they're not confident about email marketing. Anyone who really hasn't figured out how to make it work consistently and effectively. And then for anyone who is dependent on social media, right, and wants to grow their subscriber base, something that they own and not a platform that they rent from. And I mean audience that they rent from, right? So here's what you're going to get today. You're going to learn why personalization, email marketing, and creating engaging experiences is key. You're going to learn how to escape email marketing intimidation just from this class alone. Your anxiety is just going to come down, trust me. You're going to get my awesome framework for creating your first welcome series. You're going to get confidence in creating an effective email marketing strategy for your business. And I say this because you will learn the basic things you need to think about as an entrepreneur wearing this hat for this channel, right? I know there's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind for marketing. And social media has its best practices, influencer marketing has its best practices, so does affiliate, yada, yada, yada. But email marketing is so niche, and a lot of people, even though they're aware that email marketing is effective and can be powerful, they just aren't aware of the best practices and really what goes into it. So that is why I'm creating this masterclass. That is why you're all here. So if anything, you're going to leave today with seeing the value in email marketing for your business. And at the end, I have a little gift for you for attending the training. It will be emailed to you guys and in your inbox. It's a little, well, I'll save it till the end. Don't want to give it all away. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Does any of this sound familiar with common email marketing and marketing automation challenges? You've probably hit a revenue or income plateau, right? You're struggling, or maybe you're just trying to, get your first like $1,000. Maybe you don't have a lot of email marketing campaign ideas, and you feel your creativity stifled in this area, and you don't have a strategy to kind of pull it all together. You're struggling to grow your list to get better qualified leads. Maybe you don't know where to focus your email marketing efforts. A lot of people have this challenge of not knowing how to nurture their audience and do so with a personalized messaging that's relevant. And this is a big one, right? Technology blocks. How many of us struggle with MailChimp or ConvertKit or Campaign Monitor, right? And then if you're in the B2B space, there are much more complicated tools that I'm certified in that require, a lot of expertise. And those are like Marketo, Pardot, which is owned by Salesforce. I think Marketo is actually owned by Adobe now. Eloqua, which Oracle owns. I'm throwing lots of names out there because these are big companies, right? And when you get to a certain level of scalability in your business, you need powerful tools. HubSpot, which is great for actually B2C as well, if you've got a lot of contacts, because you'll notice as you get more into growing your business and your subscriber list and you're in the thousands with contacts, you have to pay by the thousands for contacts, and it can get expensive. So you want to make sure you're picking the right tool for that. And HubSpot, I know, is a good one for small businesses that are in that level of being very well established, but they're not maybe like a Fortune 500 company yet, but they want to be one day, right? Leveraging buying habits and website behavioral data. This is really important when you have your own website and you're looking at Google Analytics, and maybe you want to leverage some of that data for email marketing. You kind of just don't even know where to begin. One of my clients that I worked with had Shopify. They're based in e-commerce, right? And we figured out a way how to leverage all their order data into ideas for future email marketing campaigns, and even in bringing in more benefits for their membership platform. So that was really, really cool. Lack of segmentation or testing knowledge. This one's a big one, especially since a lot of entrepreneurs don't even know how to segment or how to test. So this will speak to a little bit of that. And of course, like all of these challenges, I don't expect you to be like an expert in all of them, right? It's not your fault that you don't know any of this stuff. You're not an email marketing strategist like I am. You haven't been doing it for 6 years, right? You're an entrepreneur, you're worrying about so many other things with your business, but at least, me giving you this knowledge will help demystify a lot of that for you so you don't feel so overwhelmed. And you can start to take little stabs at it, just like you would with other channels like social media, influencer marketing, etc. So that being said, what is email marketing? Email marketing is the use of email to promote your business. That is it really at its core, right? But it's so much more than that. It's cultivating relationships with your customers, both new and returning. It's about keeping them informed and updated with your brand. And if you're in the e-commerce space, you're worried about offering discounts and getting people to not abandon their cart, and all this can be done and automated with email marketing. If you are using a membership model, customer loyalty is so key here, right? In ongoingly communicating those benefits to your members so that they don't drop off and cancel their membership. Marketing automation is essentially streamlining and automating and measuring marketing tasks and workflows, so you can create efficiency and to grow revenue faster. I like to think of it as like this well-oiled machine that automates everything in your marketing channels so that you can kind of set it and forget it. Of course, you don't want to forget it entirely, right? You want to be a good steward of your automation, continually check on it, just like you would check on the engine of your car. In other words, marketing automation, when used with email marketing as a specific task, channel, workflow, can help you actually really deliver content at the right moment to your clients, develop relationships, and really increase that engagement at the right time and scale with personalization, segmentation, all the things that we're going to talk about today. So there are 4 core elements to a successful email marketing strategy, I like to think of. And I've only been doing this for 6 years, so what do I know, right? When you are thinking about email marketing strategy that is going to be powered by automation one day, right? You really need to think about all these elements before you're even creating a one-off campaign and before you're thinking of hitting a send button and that anxiety is coming into play. This is like the fun part, actually. This is the planning. This is the strategy building. You probably do this with other areas of your business already. When you're thinking about product strategy, when you're thinking about sales strategy, right? Email marketing has its own strategy, just like many other facets of your business. So when you think about email marketing, the first thing is you need to think about giving your visitors a reason to subscribe. You want to make it easy. So they're coming to your website and they need a compelling reason. When a customer is filling out, the little opt-in box to give their name and their email address, they're thinking, what am I getting in return for this? You need to be thinking, what am I going to offer that's going to cultivate a strong brand relationship? So yes, you need to think about what you're giving back in return, but you're also thinking more down the line, what's going to be so compelling that's going to keep them wanting to engage with your brand. The second thing is email list cleaning and learning end user preferences. This is really, really important, and a lot of people don't realize it. As critical as it is to acquire email addresses, it's also really critical and necessary to clean your list and maintain the health of your list and decide what email addresses are no longer necessary. And those are usually invalid email addresses. They're usually fraud. That's why double opt-in is so, so important, right? It really is making sure people opt in twice essentially and want to be on your email list. And the end user preferences is basically kind of like your subscription management page, but it's front facing for your customer. So they get to choose what they want to opt into and what that cadence looks like. So they may choose, I want to receive your newsletter, but I don't want to receive your sales promotional emails, right? And you usually have external facing preference center where they can go and they can update these things. I want to receive emails weekly. No, I want to receive emails monthly, right? It's really learning that and making that available, those permissions available to your user and knowing what those look like. And this is the next big one, choosing content that is relevant to their journey, right? Their journey with your brand. This is AKA where email automation and preparing for the email lifecycle steps into play. This is where you are thinking about the types of emails that you're going to be having. Am I going to have an onboarding email series? Am I going to have a lead nurturing series? Am I going to have a re-engagement or a cart abandonment? These are all the different pieces that you could be running in the background at the same time for how you want the customer to flow through different stages of awareness when interacting with your brand, all the way to the final conversion. And then even post-conversion, right? They're a customer now, they're a client now, you've got them, then what? What does that look like? What does the post-sale journey look like, right? And then lastly, personalizing the email experience as much as possible. This is really, really, really key. And it can come into play with subject lines, content. This is where data can kind of, be really useful. Actually, not kind of, a lot. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then lastly, just always continue testing. This should be part of your strategy. And the reason why I say this is because, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs think like, okay, I've thrown something against the wall and like, I'm just going to like stick with it for a while. And a lot of times you end up pulling that stuff off the wall, right? But how often are you testing it against another variable to confirm, right? And this is where with email marketing, you can really do that. You can A/B test things. You can see what works for your audience and get that confirmation so you know, oh, I know my audience prefers to be emailed. Oh, I know my audience prefers to be emailed in a specific time in the morning, actually, or on a specific day. Oh, I know my audience hates long call to actions or hates long subject lines, right? It's all about really finding that certainty with testing. And then how to maximize engagement with emails. So to foster recipient engagement, minimize unsubscribes, all while maintaining a strong brand image and community, you really need that basic trial and error testing around the different email elements. So we talked about strategy. Now we're talking about your actual asset, the email itself. And there are 4 core elements that you need to keep in mind for every single email asset. And that is timing and frequency. So I like to recommend trying like the 3 core time slots, which are put your head, your mind in the mind of your client, your intended customer. When would they be most likely checking email? So if you're, you know, a doula or you're running some kind of like business where your customer base is moms, that might be really early in the morning when she is waking up to deal with her screaming kid and just needs to know what's going on with her day. Or it might be, you know, later in the afternoon when she's finally dropped them off at daycare. It might be in the late evening when she's put the kids to bed and she can have a glass of wine, right? Kind of think like that. Think of what is the day in the life of my customer probably look like in terms of them actually being able to check their inbox. So if you can narrow it down to 3 core time slots, then start testing those 3 core time slots. Subject lines. There are so many resources out there on subject lines. I could go into this all day. I could have a masterclass on subject lines. Basic point is you just want to make sure that there is a happy medium. And I like to say a happy medium between like oozy creativity, like fun, something that sparks curiosity enough for them to want to open your email and stand out against the noise in an inbox, but also be straight to the point. You know, like don't like go too creative where they're just like, what? Or, you know, once they open it and they've gotten that, you know, open bait under their belt and they're looking at your email, you want to make sure it's like still connected to the email content. And it's not like, oh, I just like, got you to open the email and now I'm going to put a totally different message in front of you. No one hates that more than I do. And then third is content, visuals, and copy. This is where the fun art of email marketing comes into play. This is where designers can get really creative or artists can get really creative. I know this is like my jam. And it's also just fun to like, if you're not naturally artistic or creative, like this is where you can resource a graphic designer and you can play with like the preloaded templates that come in like MailChimp and all these other technology providers. CTAs, it's really important to always be testing colors of your call to action buttons. And that's what CTA stands for. For those of you who do not know, call to action is a CTA. It's basically saying like, I'm getting you to act on this with this call to action, this verb action oriented language. Like click here, download this guide, get my ebook, sign up now, book now, right? Those are all call to actions. So you can test like people who do buttons, you can test the colors, you can test the length of the copy on your CTA, you can test where you put the CTA. There's a lot of things. Optimizing for all devices. User-friendly experience makes a good brand experience. When I was building my website on Squarespace, they give you like a mobile preview. Most technology providers do nowadays, but they're not always entirely 100% accurate for what mobile is. You always need to pull out your phone and replicate that exact experience. When I built my Squarespace website, I launched it. I was like, oh, it looks good in mobile, and looked on my desktop, and then I looked on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, there are a million things I want to change. And so I did, and I would just like constantly pull up my phone and be like, okay, that renders like that. Rendering is basically a term for what it looks like, okay? What it visually comes out to look like, layout, all that kind of stuff. So did it render correctly? Is my text like covering my face? You know, like those things. That's what we call rendering. So if that is all dandy and, you know, optimized for multiple devices, then you are well on your way to doing a lot more and putting yourself ahead of the game than other entrepreneurs are. Litmus is a great tool to test optimization on all devices and rendering. So I recommend getting an account with them or just trying to mimic as much as you can. But usually most people don't have 10 different phones and 10 different like Androids and iOS versions, right? So Litmus has that. And then lastly is personalization, right? Oh, you should always be working on this. And now I'm going to get into it. And with personalization, and I've said this before, enters data. Data, super, super, super important. And I know like a lot of people who are maybe like scared or intimidated of numbers. Granted, I was that girl. I freaking sucked at math, man. I was like, oh, numbers scare me, you know. But I kind of overcame that and worked on that fear, and now I don't really associate that intimidation with the word data or numbers anymore. I just know like I'm being analytical and I am applying my creative analytical brain to using information to guide my decisions. So that is why I have this beautiful quote: you don't know what you don't know. Only that is certain. This is like one of my favorites because I will tell a little story that, you know, so one person told me recently that, oh, you know, email isn't for me. I don't really see it being useful. I don't use it, and so I'm not going to use it. And while you know that for you, and that is certain, you do not know that for your clients. You are not your client. You are not your customer base. So unless you've tested and you have surveyed and you have asked your audience, hey, do you hate email as much as I do? Then you don't know that. And only that is certain that you don't know that. So I love this quote. It's like one of my favorite. I like to remind myself of it too. So I'm going to kind of like expose another big truth here that, and this has to deal with, you know, personalization, because this is a big one, right? And we talked about how we're going to get into this. 52% of customers, meaning like your potential clients and buyers, say that they find somewhere else to go if content is not tailored to them, to their exact needs, aka personalized. Meaning this is an expectation in this day and age. This is not a nice to have. This is an expectation. And so people will leave if they are not getting personalized content. And all my stats I pull from credible sources: Salesforce, 4th Annual State of Marketing Report, eMarketer Data, and Marketing Association. So these are legit statistics. I'm not just throwing numbers here. And because personalization is so important, it's no wonder that it generates a median ROI, a return on investment, of 122%. That's huge. Okay, just think about if you're not doing that right now, what doing that might mean for like your business. But with personalization comes the sister that is forgotten all the time, and that is segmentation. With email, you cannot personalize without getting segmentation. So the big truth around that is your clients and your buyers are not all the same. Sorry, humans, we're different. We weren't all made from a cookie cutter sheet. And so because we're all different, we all have different needs. So you need to make sure that you're creating different segments based off of those needs. So relevant, segmented email messaging and I say segmented in parentheses there, because that really, if you're delivering something that's relevant, it implies that you've probably segmented your audiences, and so you know it's relevant. Drives 18 times more revenue than just broadcast emails, meaning you haven't segmented and it's just one big pile of people and you're emailing them, right? So you cannot segment or personalize on social media. The tool simply does not allow it. You can maybe try and get around it in some way of just like knowing your following and what they're into and like sending personal like DMs, but that's all manual work at the end of the day. Still, it's not automated. And wouldn't you want that automated so you have more time in your day? So we talked about personalization, we talked about segmentation. I'm going to move quickly on to the next topic because this is in fact a 40-minute masterclass, and there's so much more. I could go into all those others, but we've got a lot to cover. They've subscribed, right? Now what? So what happens after they become a new lead, a subscriber on your list? So quick pop quiz here. Which of these 3 clients or buyers is likely to get you the most sales? Is it A, client or buyer who's been on your email list for a long time? B, client or buyer who's just signed up for your free email list? Or C, client or buyer who has just visited your website for the first time? Give me a minute to think about that. Yeah, some of you are saying A, and while that may seem like the likely choice, I'll tell you why it's not. The reason it's not A is because those people have been on your list for a while. Hence, it says long time, right? If they haven't gotten from you already, chances are they're not going to buy from you. They had their chance, right? They're just kind of like chilling on your list, waiting to see what you throw at them next. It's actually B is the correct answer. And this is because they are hot. They are interacting with your brand for the first time. Therefore, they are at their highest recipient like status, you could say. And the reason why this question is so important is because if you're likely to get the most sales from people who have just signed up for free on your email list, that means your new leads and your new visitors are the most important people. And they're the most opportunistic people you should be capitalizing on and getting sales, right? So before I go into the screen, this launches me into my point of why having a welcome series is so important. It's welcoming those new people who have just signed up for your email list. Some of you already have a welcome series, and like, congrats, you're already one step ahead of the game. And we'll go into a few things you can do to, improve that if you want to make some changes and optimizations to your welcome series. But for those of you who don't, this is like where you start. This is the first place you start for building your email marketing strategy, even when you're thinking about how you want the experience to be with your brand when people who are interacting and saying hello for the first time. What does that look like, right? A lot of people get this kind of email when they first sign up, right? And they give their email address away. This is the welcome email that they're getting. It's sign up for my boring newsletter, right? This is terrifying. But a lot of people do this. A lot of welcome emails look like this. And while that's great and all, I can guarantee that that person who basically said, oh, I'm just signing up to get this like freebie, doesn't really want to receive a newsletter, or that isn't the only reason they are reaching out to you. They're reaching out to you to solve a problem of theirs. They have a need, right? So enter the welcome series. This is your chance to say hello to your new subscribers who are engaging with your brand for the first time. It is your best opportunity to say hello and to turn these leads into clients, into even sales, right? Immediately. If you're only sending blog content or like a newsletter as a welcome, you're missing out on a huge opportunity with your email strategy. And I would say even your sales too. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. So what I've broken down here in this flow from like left to right is kind of like a high level basic of the purpose of a welcome series. It's usually to onboard people to your brand, to your community, to your product, whatever the case may be, depending on your industry as a business owner. It's then to usually collect information about them or to share information to them, present yourself as like a thought leader, to build that trust. And then it's sometimes to ask the next step in the process once they've maybe been onboarded is to like ask for feedback, or it could be to lay out the expectation of a brand. I know a bookkeeping company that does this in their welcome series. They kind of just lay out what to expect with bookkeeping and checklists, and it's literally laying out the expectation of how you're going to work with that bookkeeper, right? Which is a great welcome series. And then it's really just to delight. You want to make sure that they are excited in this whole first impression and experience with your brand. So every welcome series, therefore, has a goal. It starts with an objective, and you kind of reverse engineer your way backwards, right? So this is what my framework looks like for my business. I try to keep it super simple. You can see I have a clear purpose objective map on the right, and I kind of broken down my email funnel, which is like a series of 4 to 5 emails down on the left. And that's pretty common. A welcome series is usually 4 to 6 emails. So I start off with my first email, kind of like this question to my new lead that doesn't mention anything about a marketing. And it's because I'm just trying to get their attention, really. And hence the really kind of creative, fun question. But it still relates to my business at the end of the day, my goals and my content, right? You don't want it so left field. My second email is introducing the concept of email marketing, aka what I offer, who I'm about, what I do. If this was a designer company, like if you made purses or jewelry, this would be like an introduction to your brand, okay? It's the sales open. And you can choose what kind of content you want to put in there. I like to put in thought leadership pieces. I also like to put in like a freebie. And all that I'm putting in there, the content, what's the goal of that? It's to create interest and desire, okay? The third email is, this is how I work. I like to do this one because I really like the concept of laying out the expectations up front. This is my team, this is my background, this is what my clients can expect, but doing it in like a really tasteful way with copy and imagery. Sometimes I'll have like a video to just give a little extra like transparency into my brand and my products and my offering, right? This is all to build trust and establish expertise. That is the action and the objective of this email. The fourth email is, here's where I start to be more action oriented. This is where your welcome series, like in the midway towards the end point, where it really needs to really start to take a turn as like a sales pitch and having some kind of outcome at the end. Okay. So my fourth one is, hey, book a free 30-minute strategy call with me. For an e-commerce business, it might be to come shop, right? Depends on what business you are. If you're a photographer, it might be like book a shoot with me or book a free consultation about a brand photo shoot with me. And then the fifth one is kind of post call. And again, you can choose like the length of your welcome series in terms of cadence and timing. So some of my welcome series is really like pre-call, and then my last two are post call, right? So this is my sales close email. This is, hey, enroll in this course that I'm offering. This is me coming at you with, this is my product and I want you to take action. That's the objective. And then the sixth email, which is after they've taken that action. So it's even like way beyond 1 month after they've converted, but still part of the overall like welcome series. It's what I want, at the end. It's to review me, right? Because online reviews and testimonials make my business better. And you can always ask for that once clients have been onboarded. And it helps reduce clients from dropping out. That's why it's so great to have it 1 month after they've converted. So there's still an action that's coming out of that. Another example of a welcome series that's one of the most common ones, and one that I like as well, is what I have laid out here, and I'll go into in a second. But real quick, I want to explain why you need 4 to 6 emails. This is a series. This is not a one and done email. The reason why you need more than just a one and done email is because you need the room to sell. That is what the goal of a welcome series should be, right? Because again, your newest leads are where you get the most sales, okay? You need the room to sell. You need the room to show your value and move people along the journey from least aware of your brand to most aware of your brand. That's them becoming a client or a customer. So in this welcome series, you can have your first email be the like, welcome, here is like an offer, here's info, or I'm introducing the brand, or, you know, whatever kind of like introduction you want to give. So that's kind of like of your own making. And then it starts to go into the second email is actually saying you're here to solve their problem. What problem does your client have? How are you intending to solve it? Showing up as that problem solver for them, okay? And what they shouldn't be doing, you know? And then the third email is what I like to call the Goodwill Hunting email. So we all seen Goodwill Hunting with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. It's that scene where, you know, Matt Damon's character is like, you know, admitting his fault, or, you know, and he's like experiencing a lot of guilt, essentially. And like Robin Williams is hugging him. It's a very tearful moment. So the reason why I call this the Goodwill Hunting email is basically you're kind of capitalizing on the emotion of guilt, but you're turning it into an opportunity. So you're turning that negative like emotion, but positively spinning it, saying, hey, it's not your fault. You don't know email marketing. I don't expect you to be an expert in everything, but here is how I can make you an expert. Here's the opportunity for you to become an expert in 5 days or something like that, right? So you're giving a very positive spin on, like, you're kind of sympathizing with, you know, what their problem might be and why it's not their fault. The 5-inch benefits and 5-mile benefits email is another one of my favorites. And I call this the 5-inch and 5-mile because it's not just an either or. It's really difficult to promise or guarantee you're going to change someone's life. And while people buy on emotions, and sometimes those emotions are the most lengthiest dream that they could have, and everyone should dream, I'm not saying you shouldn't, you also want to give some practical, immediate advice. So that's where the 5 inches comes in. You're giving immediate results, like how you can really change their business in just like a short amount of time. To the 5-mile is like, I'm going to change your life and get you the dreamiest results. So you're saying a little bit of both here. And it's a really great way to kind of like, again, come in and like sell what you intend to provide as a solution to their problem. And then the last emails are even more like sales oriented in the sense that it's the time to close. It's the time to sell. So urgency comes into play here. If you're a SaaS company, this is where you would talk about all the benefits of like G Suite or something, and might give a special like offer to sign up for a free trial. If you're a photographer, this could be like all the benefits of having a brand photo shoot, why you need one. And then email 6 would be the final reminder. So like, hurry now, again, expressing urgency with your language and your copy. Don't miss out on, you know, fall's brand photo shoot, pricing. You know, you can always throw in a bit of pricing copy in there, depending on your pricing and product strategy, mind you. And testimonials, right? Nothing helps people buy than reading reviews of other people who have bought from you in the past. So that being said, we've gone over 2 frameworks, my personal framework and my second favorite framework that I've seen literally iterated in companies all over the country. And that is Your welcome series needs to do two things, no matter what. Give them what they've signed up for and tell them what to expect. So if they did sign up for some like freebie, that's okay. Send them their freebie and then have them enter the welcome series and begin to say hello to your brand. Okay, lay out for them what they should expect from you. So I like to go into, because you're going to be writing your welcome series, hopefully shortly after being inspired by watching this masterclass video, you want to think about the copy to channel and direct these stages of awareness, which is what your welcome series is doing. It's moving them through different stages of awareness to the final end, right? To the most aware, right? So completely unaware, they don't know anything, they accept their own opinion. They then become problem aware, they know that they have a problem, but they don't know the solution, let alone that you provide one. That's why it's so important that, right, your second email is telling them, like, here's how I'm going to solve your problem. Solution aware, they become aware of the solution. You just gave it to them in email 2 of their welcome series, but they're not really sure you're the one that's going to provide it for them at the end of the day. So they need a little extra convincing. Enter email 3 or email 4, right? Capitalize on building that trust, that thought leadership, giving them the 5 inches and the 5-mile promises, right? And then they become product aware. So they now know your product or your service, but they're just like, oh, I'm still on the fence, not sure if it's right for me. And then if you've done a successful job with your email 5 and 6 for turning them into a client, they become most aware. They know your product and your service is the one for them, and they just need to know the deal, the pricing, right? I like that it's like the deal. So fancy. The goal of every email campaign is to move your client or buyer from that current stage of awareness, no matter where they are on the problem, on the not problem aware, to the most aware. Okay, that is the goal of every email campaign that you will ever write. Always, always, no matter what. If you can't tie it back to moving them from one stage of awareness to the next, your email doesn't really have a purpose. So if you're worried about oversending emails, because I know you saw like a series of emails and you might be freaking out and you're like, oh my God, that's so many emails in like 5 days. You don't need to be, because remember, when I gave that pop quiz at the beginning, when are clients or buyers most likely to buy from you? It's when they're new. They're looking for this information. They're most likely to open, click here, and they're most likely to listen to what you have to say here, okay? So they're not going to be overwhelmed. After the welcome series, that's a whole nother ballgame, okay? That's where cadence and frequency, you really start to need to test that out, because you can reach a threshold of oversending. But when they are new and you're building your welcome series, you don't need to worry about that. Some people like to space out, like they'll do one email one day, second email 2, and then they'll like push emails 3 and 4 farther out. But that's a little bit of a risk, because like you're pushing out, you're adding to like the churn there. They could like just disengage from your brand if they're not hearing from you consistently, because they're actually expecting you in that moment to email them consistently, right? They want to get to know your product. They came to you for a reason, you know? If it wasn't to get a freebie, it's definitely to solve their problem. So they want to listen to what you have to say. So my gift for you at the end of the training, I promise this is really cool, and I will move my face so you can see. This is my metric measurement of email mastery. This is my cheat sheet to help measure emails and give you next steps to improve your campaigns. So when you start looking at open rates and click-through rates and you really just don't know, like, oh, I see my percentages are up, but now what does that mean? What should I be looking to do, right? This is my cheat sheet that kind of gives you all that juiciness. So if you would like to work together long-term, I am launching my Art of Email Marketing 6-week accelerator course. Enrollment is going to begin, and you want to enroll before October 4th to get special early bird pricing. If you enroll after October 4th, you will pay regular pricing. And if you're interested in that, I can talk a little bit more about that. But basically the 6-week accelerator course is like a combination of all the master classes. Like if I could like think all of them at once and give them to you, and then like go even deeper, and you're going to be with other businesses who are on this path with you. That's what it is. And it's really cool because when you're in a group program, you get to hear what their problems are and what their businesses are. And, you know, that might be a question you might be asking, but you're too nervous to ask it. Or it might give you an idea and inspire you for your business. I think group programs are the best. Like, and even like, you know, group therapy too. Like, you always learn more in groups. I'm just saying. So in this accelerator program, I'm going to guide you step by step. You're never going to be alone. It is my to do it together group program. And it is for self-motivated entrepreneurs. So if you're really ready for this, right, you want to create revenue from email and you want to be less dependent on social media, but you want to do it in a simple way that you can digest, this is the place to start. And if you want personal guidance beyond that, I do provide that in my tailored one-on-one coaching. And that's where you get it really fit for your business. So we do like an audit of your business, your strategy, your email, your automation. You get all these like of my resources, access to my developers and my graphic designers that I work with. You get my testing knowledge and tools to work with. I provide technical support. I can go into your MailChimp or your ConvertKit or whatever and basically do things for you. So it's really, really personal. And I give you that personal accountability to creating your marketing strategy as we do that together, and all your automated workflows and more. So it's highly, highly, highly personalized. So if you're interested in any of these, you know, let's chat. You can book a 30-minute strategy call with me on that link below. And you can also, if you're not ready and you're not in this like, you know, stage of awareness, pun intended, then, you know, just keep looking out for my master classes. But again, those master classes, like while we dive into email marketing, we only get to scrape the surface of it, really. There's just so much more to everything. Like, it was so hard for me to make this deck because I was like, oh my God, how do I pour my brain into like 40 minutes? Where do I? And I just had to think back to like my days of email marketing, of like, where, if I was to like, you know, really start from A, where would that be? And these are the most important pieces to really think about when you're starting out, right? So I really hope you found this helpful. I really enjoyed giving you all this knowledge. It is absolutely my pleasure to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses and leverage email marketing. I really am fired up and passionate about it. I love automation. I love technology. I'm a freaking nerd. I love analytics. So I am like the girl to help you with this. And I'm also super like artistic and creative. So I really have that eye for, you know, clean user experiences with email templates and everything fit for your brand. So I hope you found all of this helpful. Again, like, I love talking about this stuff. If you have any questions at all, you know, hit me up on the social channels, because I like to, you know, discuss those questions and real, like, you know, what we're talking about, because on social media, because it might help other people. And, you know, feel free to email me at hello@madelineoliver.com anytime. And I can, you know, we can always, you know, chat and whatnot. So at this point, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. And if we have any questions, I'll go ahead. I'm going to stop the recording. For those of you who are watching the replay, I hope you enjoy this. If you found it super, super valuable, please sign up for October's Masterclass. Please refer a friend to sign up for October's Masterclass. I love just like getting people together to learn this and passing this knowledge on. I feel like it's like my purpose. So, you know, just go onto my website, /masterclasses. That's where I'll soon be taking down the September one and putting up October. So get ready for that. It's going to be pretty freaking epic. I'm excited for it. So thank you, everyone.